So after we peak with the Bitcoin dominance, I think before the end of the year we should see a peak of that. That's when all the money that's being currently allocated to Bitcoin, a lot of that's going to flow into other coins. I would go to weddings, right? I'll give people, whether a cash gift, because I'm really bad at buying gifts, by the way. But I'll give you a cash gift, and I'll put in there a Bitcoin paper wallet. And then a lot of people years later, they're like, "Hey, how do I access that?" When Bitcoin was blowing up, how do you access that? So I was that weird dude that was telling everybody, "Hey, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin," and then people was like, "Dude, you're crazy. What are you talking about?"
All right, welcome to another episode of Scotch and Stocks. Today we're going to be talking to Adrian Larreal, a big crypto influencer making millions of dollars, or we're going to find out how much, but making bang for sure in the crypto markets for a little while now, and has brought his little community with him, and I'm a part of it too, so I've enjoyed it. And yes, we want to hear the story of the crypto investor. Where did you start? Why did you start? Where we're going? And if you feel like you want to start investing, I suggest you keep on watching because this one is going to be a juicy one. All right.
Awesome,
And
awesome.
todo el mundo. Oh man, nice. So yeah, dude. Like I wanted to get you here on a call just to kind of understand sort of like the journey that you've been on because well, at least right now Bitcoin finally is back up to all-time highs, right?
That's right.
The crypto market altogether is starting to pump, or at least we're starting to see that altcoin season maybe showing a little bit of interest. But like all seasons, it comes and goes until it fully shows up. So we saw some pullback, I believe, yesterday.
Yep.
But like one of the first things I want to know from you, it's pretty much how did you start? Like who are you and how did you start? How like
All
how
right.
did crypto become the thing that you wanted to pay attention?
Awesome, awesome. Yeah. So, um, like you said, I'm Adrian Larreal. I first got started in crypto back in 2013. Actually, it was actually 2012 if we want to go all the way back then. But I had this one friend from ISKL, the same international school that we went to. Um, he lived in Australia, and then he was involved in some, let's say, slightly shady things, right? And then he mentioned that he had this friend that was doing some type of business dealings, and he was getting paid in Bitcoin at that time. So, mind you, this 2012 Bitcoin was, I don't even think it was like, it was probably less than $10, if that. But then he told me about this platform called Silk Road, right? The original Silk Road, right? So
Dang.
I didn't really think about it, whatever. And then I started looking into it after because it started popping up in the news, this whole Silk Road thing, right? They were getting raided, I believe. And then I looked into it, and I downloaded the Tor browser, went to Silk Road, and said, "Oh, this is crazy! Like you can buy anything here. You can buy passports, guns, drugs, you name it, it's there." It was kind of crazy, and I also just researched Bitcoin a bit more. And I'm from Venezuela. There's a lot of economic unrest, political unrest, and so on. But a lot of that has to do, especially with the economy, it has to do with inflation and mismanagement. Hey, there you go. Exactly. How
There
much?
you
How
go.
much is that worth? How
This is
much is that
worth
worth?
this is worth less than a sheet of toilet paper here in the UK.
There you go. There you go. And why is that? That's because of inflation. And what creates inflation? Basically, just the printing of money. So as you increase money supply, the value of your currency just goes down. It's like if you have a company, if you have shares in a company and then you create more and more shares, you're getting effectively diluted every time these shares are created. So me being from Venezuela, having known about the Silk Road, uh, I'm also big in economics. I actually went to University of Houston. Go Cougs. I graduated with a master's in applied economics. So all these things I was a prime target to be a Bitcoin evangelist early on, right? But really, what brought me in, I remember trying to buy Bitcoin from Coinbase. This was maybe around October, November time frame. I think it was either 2012 or 2013. I don't remember exactly. But I remember that it was around like 50, $40 at the time. And then I was trying to buy through Coinbase, but at that time, Coinbase, you could only buy if you linked your bank account directly to Coinbase. So there's no, credit card or debit card. No, you have to like give them your bank account information, your routing number. And it was Coinbase. It's not a well-known website at that point. Um, so I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. I might get scammed, which is funny because now Coinbase is, a multi-billion dollar company. Uh, but eventually, Bitcoin went to, I believe it went all the way up to $1,200. I saw it I saw it before I bought. Then I saw it with no Bitcoin holdings. I saw it go all the way up to 1,800 or 1,200. I did buy some on the way, but I bought the peak, right? So I was buying at the peak, 700, 800, 900. And then I also saw it come all the way back down to, I think it got down to maybe 150, 200, that cycle. But it was crazy, right? Because I had this opportunity to essentially more than 10x an initial investment, but because I was too scared to put in my bank account information, I didn't. And I saw it go all the way up, bought the peak, and then saw it crash down. And I think that's something that every person that is in crypto has to go at least once. You have to go and basically get wrecked, right? At least once, because you get it. You need to get it out of your system. The second cycle you're gonna do better, but the first cycle you have to get wrecked. Um, Not necessarily or not as much as I did. Actually, didn't get wrecked that much, but it's more of I saw the lost opportunity that I could have had. And that is why I kind of created this the crypto group that I run on Telegram, just sending out alerts and analysis on not just crypto, but anything related to investing. Because I feel like if people are able to learn and take the lessons that I've learned in my journey and apply it to their own investment strategies, I think I'm doing something positive and good for everybody else that's trying to get into crypto.
Yeah, definitely
That's
more exponential knowledge. It's like if you don't have to pay for the mistakes, because I remember back in my day, like I started 2017, like during the 2017 rally, and yeah, that was, it was the same thing. Oh, euphoria, euphoria, euphoria. Let's buy. Simon, you're in. Yeah, you want to go mining? Sure, let's go. And then next thing you know, you take that dive and you're like, huh, okay, maybe I trade my way out of this. That was my sentiment back then. But yeah, no, that's cool because it's like, so you were in it like since the Silk Road, eh? Like, so you
yeah,
were paying attention to this, like, because I remember the first time I ever saw Bitcoin, I was still in university and they had opened like a place where you can buy Bitcoin. It was like a shop where you could just go in, and I remember it was like $200. And I was like, what is this internet money thing that you want to take money away from me? And I was like, I'm in university. I'm too busy to learn. You know what I mean?
right.
Which ended up costing me so much, Like after I did the due diligence, because I'm the same. I was an economics major, right? Back in the University of British Columbia. But yeah, it was crazy. And then
Yeah, and there's this. I have this picture back in 2013. It is me, like all nerdy, you know, going like this next to a Bitcoin ATM that they had just installed at my college, the University of Houston, Bauer College of Business. Um, and I do remember actually going to at least one, it might have been two talks. Think about. Remember, have you seen that guy Anthony? Yeah, he's like a Greek guy, really long name, but he preaches Bitcoin, and he's been preaching Bitcoin for more than a decade now, right? Um, but I remember that we used to have kind of like those talks too at my university, and nobody would go. It was like maybe like seven people in a full auditorium. Uh, so like if you've seen those videos of that guy doing those talks and to essentially an empty room, it was like that as well. Like it's only just the nerds that were part of that. and
Yeah.
actually looking into it. And it's just funny because looking back, I always look back at that picture every time we do an all-time high. I look back at that picture of me next to the Bitcoin ATM. It's just crazy how far we've come.
Yeah, it's the truth, man. Like the whole market has just gone nuts all the way from Bitcoin, its inception, and then to the meme coin rallies, to the actual technologies that are getting built behind closed doors that we don't even sort of fathom yet. And like a lot of people, whenever we get this euphoria, we get a lot of people coming in and sort of look at, it's like, oh, how can I make money? But it's like, it's like this technologies end up changing the world. It's like
Yep.
how we look at money, how we look at transacting with people, how we can sort of like cross border move millions of dollars of just with a click of a button. And
And we're still super early.
yeah,
We're still super early. Like
it's
it
the
took the
truth.
internet, what, 20, 30 years for it to actually be mainstream where like almost, I don't know. I don't know anybody that doesn't use the internet. Maybe
Yeah,
just some remote villages and somewhere out there, but basically everybody, you have to know how to use the internet and you need, it's basically like electricity at this point, right? So I think with Bitcoin, specifically, I think it'll be like that as well. And I think less than 10% of the entire world population holds Bitcoin right now. So just think about that. We're
yeah,
still early on this curve of adoption.
yeah. No, it's the truth. So let me ask you, just for everybody out there, what was the first ever Satoshi that you paid for? How much US dollars did you buy it for? Do you remember?
Uh, I do. I think it was around, I have a screenshot of that somewhere actually. But I bought half a Bitcoin for about like 300 bucks, 350, 380.
Dang.
Yeah,
And now that same half a Bitcoin is worth 45. Well, we're a little
that's
bit
right.
lower, so 44. Forty-four
Yeah, yeah.
thousand dollars,
Give or take a couple thousand. Yeah,
Dang. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Dang. Okay. So that sort of sets the mood, because it tells you the reality. And a lot of people say like I agree with you fully that we're still early. And a lot of the people, for example, one of the biggest things that I'm hearing is old people, not old people, but the old generation were buying gold, right? And gold was the
Mhm.
safe asset, and that was the thing. But all this new generation that we're getting, the millennials and the Gen X and Gen Z or whatever, right? All of these people, they understand crypto, they understand Bitcoin, they understand this sort of like, internet funny money, as the old people call it, and all of that money is going to have to transition and go into Bitcoin. So if you're early and hold the asset, and the potential of governments, Donald Trump buying some for the Treasury, El Salvador, all of that just paves the way for a massive rally, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So let me
So,
ask
but
you.
another funny story, right? Because you're asking about one of the first Bitcoin I bought. Let me tell you about the first Ethereum I bought. That was part of the initial sell. So before, like essentially, that would have been the first ever ICO in history, right? Which was the sale of Ethereum. So I bought 700 Ethereum for half a Bitcoin. I think this was back in 2015. So you can do the math. It comes out to like, pennies. Each Ethereum, like the cost base is like pennies on a dollar. So
Would you say the gains are bigger on the Ethereum trade or on the Bitcoin trade?
the Bitcoin, I did sell, unfortunately, I did sell a
Yeah.
lot of Ethereum before we got to the thousands of dollars valuation. But I still, there were good gains. I'm not complaining.
Nice, nice. No, that's the thing. Like I find that the longer you stay in sort of the crypto game, right? I like, again, I find this sort of asset class as an investment regardless. It's something that you have to buy and hold and allow for time to just compound the knowledge, the uses, and everything that comes with it. So with this, it's just you gotta hold, and it's like, yeah, you'll see downturns, but if you truly believe in what you're buying and you're not just in for making like $10, $20, $30, then just buy and hold and then see where that can take you. And then you can always take some money off the table, but keep paying attention, because the moment you put money in, that's when you start paying attention.
Yeah, that's
So let me
exactly right. Now,
yeah.
now it's also easy to say like back then, right? Yeah, there's people saying that Bitcoin at some point is going to go to $10,000, $100,000, right? But that's the same as me saying today, or similar to me saying today, Bitcoin's gonna go to 10 million, right? Yeah, maybe it might go right, but you tell that to somebody, they're like, you're kind of crazy. Now, and that is now when governments are buying Bitcoin, where when companies are buying Bitcoin, where a lot of people in the modern world understand or know at least what Bitcoin is. When we've had media coverage of Bitcoin. Back then, if we had an article on any mainstream newspaper, a mention of Bitcoin, that was like, oh, dude, are you serious? This is crazy, right? So I was that weird dude that was telling everybody, hey, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. And then it was like, dude, you're crazy. What are you talking about? I would go to weddings, right? I'll give people, whether a cash gift, because I'm really bad at buying gifts, by the way. But I'll give you a cash gift, and I'll put in there a Bitcoin paper wallet, right? Just so they have that. And then a lot of people years later, they're like, hey, how do I access that? When Bitcoin was blowing up, how do you access that? But I always kept like a copy of their private keys, which I shouldn't have, but I did because I knew they would just like throw that away or like don't
Yeah,
consider
because they have
it.
no idea. They have no.
Yeah,
You bought them Nvidia stock. It's like here you. I'll buy a stock for you.
exactly.
For all they
But
care.
like
Yeah.
they were very happy when that $200 in Bitcoin turned out to be like $3,000 a couple of years later.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a great idea. It's like okay, you don't want to buy Bitcoin. It's okay. I'll buy it for you. Here, little gift. Enjoy. It's like that's
Yeah.
crazy though.
And it's also easy to sell at that point, right? If you see something like $200 to $3,000, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm taking profits, right? But you have no idea that what at that point was $3,000 would be worth $30,000, $300,000, right?
Yeah.
So it's easy to just like take the gains, spend it, not really put it back in, unless you really have this long-term view, this vision of Bitcoin is actually going to become a global reserve currency.
I get you. No, I get you. It's easy to it's easy to know what to do when you look at the chart. Because
Right,
the
right,
chart is already played out, but it's hard to know
exactly.
what the chart will do. And sometimes, like, it's like the moment I decide to sell and the whole market rallies 20, 30%, or the moment you buy, the market drops. But it's like, that's sort of a part of the game too. So it's like, again,
That's right.
it comes with the practice and the actual repetition of being in the market, I think, you know? So let me ask you something about the group, right? Because you opened the group to try to teach people and educate and all that stuff. What was the thing that sort of made like what was the reason behind that?
Yeah, so it's funny, yes, because the reason I opened that group was because I had so many. I was known as the
The
Bitcoin
crypto
guy,
guy.
right? Yeah. So every time the market would start heating up, everybody would start texting me, calling me, "Hey, what should I do? Should I buy now?" It's like, and usually it was when we are making all-time high, right? And it's like, well, you could buy now. You have very high risk. You could have bought, a year ago, 2 years ago when I told you to buy. But okay, yeah, you can buy some now and then see where it goes, and if it drops, buy more, and so on. So, but I had all these people asking me the same question, basically. Hey, what should I do? Should I buy now? Should I sell now? Where's it gonna go? Is this a scam, right? And eventually, I couldn't respond to all these people, and I was like just repeating myself over and over again. So it started with like just an Instagram group, right? And it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna tell people what I'm doing, so they can either copy that, they can ask me questions there. That way, I don't have to repeat myself over and over again. So now every time somebody asks me a question, I just tell them go to the group, follow the group. It's on there. Everything I'm doing is there. If you have questions, you can ask there. And not only me, that you answer some of the questions. Sometimes you're involved in there. Sometimes we have other people in there that are also part of the group, which is great, right? Where we've kind of built this community of people who are just helping each other and sharing ideas. Like I said before, not just in crypto, but just investment in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's where it came from. That's why a bunch of people asking me the same questions and me getting annoyed repeating myself. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna answer all these questions in this group. Go there and seek the information if you really
Yeah.
care that.
Yeah, I get you, because yeah, it's funny. Did you ever see the IT crowd?
The IT what?
The IT crowd, it's a TV show. They worked in IT, and they had an answering machine that would be like, "Have you tried turning the computer off and on again?" And they would have that recording. But in crypto, it's like, maybe you should buy, but take it. You can also lose your money.
Right,
This is
right.
not financial advice, kind of
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah,
It's
because I never want to be like, oh, you tell me to buy and then it crashed. Like, hey,
it's on
I'm just
you.
telling you. Yeah, I'm just telling you what I'm doing.
Yeah. No, that's one of the things I like about the channel too. Is not like because that's one thing that I hate. The person goes is like, okay, like what's your price target on it? And it's like, I have my price target based on my knowledge, but it's not gonna be the same as you. Like I don't know what you know, and it's people are just looking to be like, okay, give me the in and the out so I can like make money and be happy. And it's like, but
Right.
that's not what you're trying to do here.
Tell me the
Yeah,
price when I need to sell everything. And so it's like it doesn't work like that. Like I
yeah,
have price targets right in my head. I don't base my trades or my investment based on those price targets, to be honest, right? It's we can go into like what I based it on, but essentially that's just like my view is like okay, it'll probably get there, yes or no, right? But my trades, it's I'm more of a reactive type of guy when it comes to the trades. Now that there's some things that are I hold long term, and then once it does reach some of those prices, then say, okay, I think about probably taking more profits in preparation for a decline, a long term decline. But for the most part, any like swing trades that I take, they're not based on any type of specific peak price target, right?
yeah. No, that's true. Because that's the thing. If you believe that it's going to be the world reserve currency sort of asset class, right? It's like you can't really have a target on it because everything is in relation to something else, right? So
Right,
Bitcoin becomes cheap in relation to the US dollar devalue, like or because of inflation or because of other like other things that don't even affect the demand for the crypto or the asset in this case, right? So that's it. Yeah, it's the truth. And a lot of people, I find, it's like whenever we start seeing the group start to heat up, is when you know that there's a little bit of euphoria in the market. So you take that as
right,
an indicator now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the
exactly.
beauty. It's the beauty. Like I
Or
remember
when you get like your aunts and your uncles, asking you, hey, so this
this
Bitcoin
Bitcoin
thing,
thing. You
yeah,
think
exactly.
have you heard of it? And it's like, bro, you've never asked me about anything money related in your life. It's like, oh my goodness. No, like the other day, my cousin asked me, and she was like, "Oh, my group's starting to talk about Bitcoin." And like the last time she talked to me about that, she was wanting to buy a horse race coin that they were investing in, and it was like the next big thing.
Right.
So like that was the 2020 meme coin rally, 2020 2021 rally. But yeah, okay, so let me ask you now the dark side. Now we're talking about meme coins and altcoins and all that stuff. What's the biggest loss? We've talked about the wins. Now let's talk about the other side of the coin because it's there
Yeah.
for sure.
For the most part, it's not the realized losses, but it's basically not selling when I should have, right? So, I went through the first cycle of 2013, basically bought the peak, thought, rode it all the way down. At the bottom, I started buying back up again. And then the next one was 2017, and that was the birth really of altcoins. Before that, we did have altcoins. Yeah, we had stuff like Pure Coin, Feather Coin, stuff like that. But at that time, it was like kind of very obscure. It was trading on this exchange called BTC-E. I think it was a Russian-based exchange. I believe that was the first ever exchange. No KYC, nothing like that, right? Obviously got shut down eventually. But you had in there Litecoin, Purecoin, Feathercoin, all these things. And that's also when I started thinking about trading on using my Satoshi value as a metric of is this a good trade or not? Because they had BTC alt uh, pairs there to trade. But anyway, I think as it relates to the biggest loss is basically riding that trend up, right? When Bitcoin went to $20,000, I think Ethereum went to around $1,200 back in towards the end of 2017, early 2018. Basically seeing it, riding it all the way up, and then just seeing it crash all the way back down.
It's
to
like, yeah.
3,000. Ethereum went, I think, back down to like $100, right? So technically, I never took a loss on that because I didn't realize it.
It's
But I think that was the most painful thing, and that was the best lesson I had in that cycle. I would say.
okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I remember my sister, you know, she's like she was working with me for a little while, and one of the things that she said was like, you know, it's like as long as you don't sell it, like it's not in your if it's not in your bank account, it's not real. You know, it's like, and I'm like,
Sure.
okay, not in the bank account at least, at least in the cash positions where you capitalize and then potentially take advantage of the losses in the future. You know, at least go in capital gains, take the capital loss so you can balance it out with future gains. You know, but you know, it's you have to sort of
Exactly.
like the paper gains and realized gains psychologically are very different, very very
Yeah.
different. Por
The
cierto.
other thing I would say on is the mostly on the bankruptcies, right? On Celsius, I was part of Celsius, Voyager, BlockFi. I wasn't on FTX. BlockFi, I didn't. I had taken most of it out already. Voyager, I was in the process of taking money out because I saw the writing on the wall when they reduced the withdrawals. I think their max withdrawals were like 50,000, and then they reduced them to 10,000 per day. I was like, oh boy, this is not good. So I started
Okay.
like pulling out 10,000, but it's just not enough to be able to pull out your money. So I still had a good chunk of money in there. And then Celsius, I had quite a bit of Bitcoin and Ethereum there. Um, because I had loans, I had taken out loans basically to leverage myself to buy more crypto. Luckily, that crypto that I had bought with that loan, those loan funds weren't in any of those exchanges. They were in cold storage. So that in terms of dollar value, that was a higher dollar value than what I could have made my loss opportunity from the 2017 cycle. Uh, but even though it was a higher dollar amount, it can't hurt less because I had most of my bitcoins in cold storage anyway. But it just the fact that you saw it, you knew what was gonna happen, and you couldn't do anything about it. And what one thing that I remember specifically is one loan. They margin called me, and then I think I had to transfer something like 70 Ethereum to not get margin called. So I took it from Nexo. That's another platform I use. Uh, and that one stayed safe. So I took it from Nexo, put it into Celsius, do not get margin call to resolve my margin call. And then like a week later, they're like, oh, everything's paused. We're going bankrupt. And then you
Yeah.
realize, well, all your claims are at basically the market lows. So, I mean, it was a big, big, big haircut in terms of the money I had in those platforms. The good thing with that, or not that great when you think about it, is
The less bad thing. The less bad
yeah,
thing.
and you mentioned this, you can at least take your capital losses on that, and then offset that with your capital gains because that's another thing in crypto, especially in the U.S. How much taxes you have to pay, especially when you have such a low cost basis. Like I don't like selling crypto because I'm like traumatized because it's how much taxes I've had to pay every time I sell crypto, right?
Okay, so let me ask you this then, right? So going forward, right? What have you realized and what have you learned, like in your time in the crypto markets? What have been the sort of key takeaways that sort of help you propel forward? Because I'm guessing nowadays you're kind of like, because even in investing all throughout, right? It's kind of like trust. How can I be trust? How can I trust this institution to keep my money safe, right? Like I use brokers like eToro, Interactive Brokers, and all of these guys, and it's like, okay, they're just some guys, you know. It's like, how can I trust them with my money? You know, it's like, and then you have FTX. Oh, the guy looks very, very good, very nice, and then all of a sudden it's like then my money's in his pocket. You know, it's like, so going forward, what have you learned, and what can you tell me?
I guess the first thing is don't trust anything. Right? That's why with Bitcoin, you don't need to trust anybody and you can transact perfectly. But I mean, you're going to have to trust some things, right? You can't just do everything off chain, just like you can't live off the grid. I mean, you can, but yeah, it's very difficult to do that. But really, as it comes to trusting institutions, I think this is where the lack of clear regulations for crypto institutions has really hurt, especially here in the U.S. Right, everything is so kind of gray area. Now, I'm glad that it looks like Gary Gensler is gonna be essentially kicked out the SEC. So I think that's gonna be good, and we will finally get some good guidance on crypto regulations. Because I mean, I think you can trust the bank for the most part. 99.9% of the time. Might there be a bank run? Yeah, but that's very unlikely, right? I'm not, that crypto anarchist that thinks, fiat's gonna burn, and I mean, I do think fiat's gonna lose 99% of the value as it has. You
Yeah.
know, every single fiat currency has lost. We don't see that because it happens over 50, 60, 70 years, but it has lost its value, right? But I'm not that type of anarchist where it's like, no, don't trust the banks, don't trust anything, right? So you're gonna have to trust some people. Right now, I've actually a lot of my trading is being done in Robinhood, particularly because I think they're the good mix between crypto. They offer crypto that you can actually withdraw your actual physical crypto, even though not your keys, not your coins, but still you're gonna
Well,
have to.
I guess that's another lesson too, eh?
Yeah, not your keys, not your coins. Even if it says if you think they're your coins, right? Like Celsius, right? I had coins in there. They're mine. Oh, it's gonna go bankrupt. What? I just paid my loan, and they're going to give me back my coins. Nope, that's not the way it works. And you don't want to go into any type of bankruptcy proceedings for a multitude of reasons. It takes too long. You have losses. You have no control on how those losses are taken. And then taxes, when it comes to that, it's a pain. So you don't want that at all. So, but that's that direct outcome of basically trusting institutions that maybe you shouldn't have trusted, right? Even if they look big, even if the guy, like the guy that was running Celsius, he invented voice over IP, the technology we're using today to talk over the internet. He invented that. So you can't even trust somebody just because of who they are as a person or their experience. I think you have to rely on historical data and historical events. So like banks, right? Whatever happens to the U.S. big banks, they're most likely going to get bailed out, right? So with something like Robinhood, they're essentially a regulated brokerage. I feel a bit more comfortable having my money in there. But other than that, keeping your coins in cold storage. If you're not trading them, why do you need them on an exchange? Take them out of there, put them in cold storage. Also, don't get too greedy, right? A lot of that greed that happened was, Voyager was offering like 10% return on your crypto. Same thing with Celsius. I think sometimes they went up to like 13% being paid out. I believe it was daily, right? So you get greedy. You want to squeeze as much profit as you want from that. But you're trading that in for the safety side of things, right? You're taking on more risk by essentially giving your coins to this institution that's not regulated, and you don't know what could happen. Now we know what would happen, right? And I think that's a trend. Every cycle, it's the same lesson that's being learned, right? Hold your coins, know your keys, know your coins, and don't get too greedy, right? In 2017, it was the ICOs. I don't know if you're around, you remember all the ICOs. Basically, they were
Yup.
the OG meme coins, right? You put a nice website somewhere that says you're gonna change the world with this new, blockchain infrastructure, and you're gonna like everything's like amazing. It's like wow, and people invested in it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we saw what happened. Basically, a lot of them went to zero, right? And the next cycle, right? It was meme coins and NFTs. It's the same thing. It's the same concept where you something that's innovative, that's creating a lot of value because it's new, and then you just want to go into it. If by the time you hear about it, it's already gone up 100, 200, 500, you're too late. You
Yep.
become just exit liquidity for other people.
Yeah, if you
So
don't have your finger in the pulse, by the time you hear the heart attack, it's done. You
exactly.
know.
And the third lesson, I think, it's control your emotions, right? It's all about emotions at the end of the day, unfortunately, because you might see people on Twitter posting, "Hey, I used to make 10x in a week with this coin. I made 100x in 2 weeks with this other coin." And it's like, well, why can't I do that, right? But you don't see the 100 different trades that they made before where they lost 90% of their capital, right? It's selective what they post about, and you're only seeing that because that's something that gets traction. Nobody's gonna like a post that says, "Hey, I lost 90% of my money on this trade," and nobody's gonna post about it. So you're only seeing there's a perception that everybody's making a shitload of money all the time when that's not reality. Another lesson would be have a plan even before. When it's boring, that's the best time to build your plan up, right? When Bitcoin's crashing, when nobody's talking about Bitcoin, crypto, nothing, right? Have your plan and establish your plan. Say, okay, I'm ready to invest X amount of money into Bitcoin, this amount of money into Ethereum, this amount of money into Solana, into these other alts. This is my allocation, my target allocation, right? And you know what? I'm going to just buy every week, every month, a set amount. If it goes lower, I'll buy more. If it goes higher, maybe I'll stop buying. Once it gets to these risk levels, maybe I'll start selling. Right, but have your plan because if you don't have a plan, by the time everything starts running up, you're gonna panic essentially, and you're gonna make really bad decisions that you wish you didn't make.
It was the yeah, not having a plan is a plan to it's planning to fail. That was the thing
Exactly.
that
There you go.
yeah, cool. Okay, so let me ask you this. Now that we sort of like gone through the process of kind of understanding where you come from, where you've been, what you've learned, now where you're going. Now it's so I want to understand where do you see the not well, we could start with Bitcoin, which is the like the nice pretty lady that's happening right now, but thing I want to understand where your head's at right now that you've been on it for so long, because the thing is you also sometimes get that like echo chambers of
Yep.
when you're in it for so long, but I want to know the perspective maybe of where do you see this happening, like where do you see this going for sure.
Where the market's going, and
Yeah, well, both market and technology wise, because the thing is just like I think it's like when you buy a tech stock, or when you buy a for me is when you buy a stock, you're not buying a dollar number, you're buying a like a storyline, you're buying a financials, you're buying fundamentals, you're buying a lot, right? So I want to understand that aspect of it. It's where do you see this industry heading? What are the things that you're liking in the industry? What are the things that are like it's like that surprised you? Sort of like what tokens you're paying attention to as well. Give a little bit
yeah.
of
So I'll start by saying that like 99% of projects out there are pure BS. They have a
100%.
nice story, but it's all BS. The way I see the market is basically there's opportunities to make money everywhere. You don't have to believe in the projects if you just want to make money, right? That's why meme coins are popping up, right? I used to not like meme coins. I used to be an adamant, just against meme coins. I mean, why would I invest in them? But then I realized, well, I'm just really investing to take advantage of the run up, right? I don't really care what these things are doing. I don't really care if they're doing what they say they're doing. I used to do research actual projects like things like IOTA, which was a coin back in 2017. And it's actually has real life uses and it's being used today. But none of that matters, right? I think this cycle has been a little bit different, right? We've had Bitcoin kind of dominating the scene for the past 2, 3 years. Right now, I think the Bitcoin dominance is coming or it's getting closer to a peak. I don't think it's peaked yet. But we see that, right? And we see all these altcoins, for the most part, have lost 80, 90% of their value. Now there's always gonna be, you can cherry pick which are meme coin you want that's outperforming Bitcoin, but in the aggregate, everything is being dominated by Bitcoin for the past 2, 3 years. Now where it's going now, right? So after we peak with the Bitcoin dominance, I think before the end of the year, we should see a peak of that. That's when all the money that's being currently allocated to Bitcoin, a lot of that's going to flow into other coins, right? Because let's say Bitcoin runs up to 100,000, 120,000, whatever it might go up to, right? The upside is limited. It is a safer asset. It's become a safer asset. Now institutions hold it, countries hold it, local governments hold it. So there's limited upside, right? Still better than S&P 500, right?
Yeah.
But it's limited upside. It's not gonna go. I don't think the cycle's gonna go to $1 million or 500,000. I think Bitcoin will peak between anywhere between 100,000 to 200,000
In
this
this
cycle.
rally, in this
Yeah,
cycle. Okay.
yeah, and I think that's going to happen sometime 2025. I think by summer 2025, we should have already seen a peak, if not earlier.
Okay.
But what happens is people get this and the euphoric, right? The euphoria kicks in, the mania phase kicks in. People start looking at Bitcoin saying, why do I have all this money in Bitcoin? It's already ran up to 100,000. I want more, right? So a lot of people take that money and it basically gets pushed into Ethereum, into Solana, into first the bigger altcoins, and then it just starts flowing down and down into the riskier coins, right? Then you're gonna have your, 10 million market cap coins that could 1,000x in a day, right? And that's the DJ coins, which hey, I'm not into that anymore, right? Because for me, I'm more of a wealth preservation perspective rather than a wealth creation. There's always a spectrum there. If you're starting out, if you're 18 years old, 20 years old, go. If you lose $100 because you put in some DJ and meme coin, is that really gonna change your life? If you lose it out, no. But you might make $100,000, and now you can take that $100,000 and start a business, right? At 20 years old.
Yeah.
So there's upside. But I'm not in that. I don't hate on it. I understand it. I appreciate it. I'm just not a part of it. It's also you have to put a lot of time into identifying these coins, and you have to be monitoring
Yeah.
uh, basically the whole day to be able to take those profits. One thing I would say, if you are taking a gamble on some of those risky investments, is whatever money you put in, once you've either made back your initial investment, just take it out, right? If you put $100, $1,000 into some degen coin, once the valuation of that gets to 2,000, $3,000, take out the initial 1,000, let the other 2,000
Then
or
right.
1,000 ride.
Yeah. And then risk free. Then it's a risk free investment because you've already taken out your
Exactly.
money, right?
But you're getting a free roll at roulette.
Yeah. No,
Um,
that's my option strategy. Whenever I go on a little bit more risk in my portfolio, I'll go buy 2, 3 contracts and then just like let one of them. It's like whenever I make if they go in my favor, I'm like, okay, take out the risk, leave it inside.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Free bet. It's a free bet. But yeah, and so Bitcoin peaking or dominance peaking before the end of the year. A lot of alts are going to start pumping into early 2025, right? So you're going to see ETH go back up to 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, potentially even up to $10,000 ETH. We can have, I think Solana is probably going to be one of the best performers this cycle in terms of the bigger coins. I think Solana is a very, very safe bet for relatively speaking, right? In terms of altcoins, they have a lot of backing from Silicon Valley. Uh, they have a good base. They're actually building a lot of new technology. Not that that matters, but the thing that does matter is how many meme coins are Solana based, right? Meme coins have been the outperformers of this cycle in terms of alts. And I think that trend is going to continue. That, along with AI coins and RWA, real world assets coins, I think those three are going to be the biggest trends this cycle in terms of alts. And most of those alts are built in the Solana ecosystem, not the Ethereum ecosystem.
Oh,
That's something that just to note. And in order to buy, some DJ meme coin, guess what? You're gonna have to buy some Solana and then transfer
you
from
put it.
Solana
You have
to
to
to that meme coin.
you have to go to the Solana nightclub. Okay.
There
Okay,
you
okay,
go.
okay.
Exactly.
I get you. Because yeah, that was the NFT craze too, right? Like during the NFT craze was we saw Ethereum just go nuts, but was because you needed
Exactly.
to access that market. Well, we've seen it with pretty much like I think Binance as well at some points. Binance ends up grabbing that sort of benefit as well, BNB coin and all that. So cool. Okay. 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 That's what I did an episode yesterday with a couple of popular investors from eToro, like that I met in the conference. And one of the girl that's heavy in crypto, she was like, her name is Mimi. Yeah, she said the same thing. We're not in the altcoin season yet. We need to see that Bitcoin dominance start to drop in order for us to see those assets diversify into other investments the way that I
Yeah.
as an investor would see it. Yeah.
What
Okay.
one idea that's kind of a contrarian idea. eh, This is not my base case, but it's something that I keep in the back of my mind. Is just given how much money has come from institutions into Bitcoin, we may not see such an altcoin craze as we did in the past, right? I'm
Well,
not saying there's not gonna be alt season, but just the amount of money being generated from that. Usually, it's in retails. There's also a lot of hedge funds that actually trade meme coins, believe it or not. But just the money, I don't expect that much money that's flowing into Bitcoin from institutions, from the ETF, from governments to directly flow into altcoins, right? So it's gonna have to be the retail investors going back in with fresh cash and pushing that in. So as a percent relative to the Bitcoin market cap, we may see that the altcoin capitalization it's relatively low compared to other cycles. So
well,
basically, what I'm saying is that Bitcoin dominance is not going to drop as much as it did in previous cycles after
okay.
all.
But let me ask you this, because this is something that I like. This was something that kind of came into my desk, and it was just like this rally is not a retail rally, not yet at least. You
Yep.
know, I think this is all big money, hedge funds, like institutions finally coming in and saying, okay, the SEC has approved this. We know enough about it. We've put it in our plates. Now we're throwing money in because the moves have been massive, and we're not seeing the like. I keep going back to the Google Trends and just the volume in Twitter and all these different places. It doesn't feel like euphoria yet, you know. So that's where
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think like because I think the American you guys have Thanksgiving coming up.
Yep.
So I know that Thanksgiving is going to be prime. How much money did you make on your Bitcoin, son? And then
That's
that's
right.
when we're going to start seeing that. Like I do believe that there's still some. We are coming back off. There is like, well, there's triple witching day today. There is a little bit of easing. The market has just been everything was up after the
It's a
election, and then
hangover. It's a hangover from the
from the
Trump
election for
win.
sure. For sure. But I do think that we sort of like stabilize around these levels and potentially continue the uptrend in all assets, not only crypto, right? Or at least there's nothing major other than unemployment that's starting to scare me a little bit, but well, that's for
Yeah, that and you also got to think about the monetary policy, right? So the Fed just cut 25 basis points last week, um, and I think those cuts will continue. But you
yeah,
also got to look at other things that they're doing. Like, are they still buying assets
the
or
balance
selling
sheet
assets?
runoff.
Yeah. So it's not just the rates. And like you said, unemployment. If we have really low unemployment, what's their incentive for them to bring back quantitative easing,
Yeah.
right? If the economy is doing well. But in a way, it actually kind of works better for us uh, to see unemployment climb higher, but not climb higher drastically, because then that would spook markets. It's like
Yeah.
the sweet spot you want it to be in, where it's like the Fed is going to increase quantitative easing, but not too much, where it's like, oh, we might actually get a big crash. Although I do think there's got to be a crash sometime in 2025.
I'm keeping a close eye on it because at least like I mean my research is telling me that the jobs sort of tick up, the unemployment tick up is not a fluke. I do believe that the Fed is still restrictive, which is scary to me right now because of just that unemployment rate just starting to tick up, with the inflation not fully coming in, we potentially seeing a little bit of stagflation. So it could get crazy really quick, you know. But again, it's hard to know, you know. It's right now I'm fully invested. I don't think that like whenever we got the, like, I remember back in the day, like 2 years ago, it was like, oh, we're getting the recession tomorrow, and then the next minute it's like, we're getting the recession tomorrow, and it's like, chill, it takes time. The Fed increased rates, there's a lag, there's other things that we have to consider too, you know. So I do see, but now I think we are closer, you know. there
Yeah,
there are yellow lights lighting up in the panel.
and you could argue that we've had some type of recession back in 2022, at least like on the tech industry. I think you could call that a recession. And also, yeah, we had that decline in the stock market as well. But I think what happens is that, we had this rhetoric of soft landing, hard landing. Oh, we've made it, right? I think people, the stock market will continue to go up until it doesn't, right? People just say,
Yeah.
oh, it's a soft landing. They did their job. Great. Everything's pumped. And then everything just comes at once. Um, and, and, and the risk with that right now I see is that unemployment rates are artificially lower than they should be. One, because of how they measure it. They keep changing how they measure it. That's one thing. But also, there's a lot of government and temporary seasonal jobs. Like, for example, all the election workers. You know, if you're not longer engaged in your campaign in the elections, you're now unemployed,
Yeah,
right?
I think that's going to tick up the numbers, and it's actually going to scare markets a little bit heading forward, because there was a lot of, I think the last jobs number, it would have been negative if not for like government jobs, and it was like 40K it came. So it was like, man, it scared me. It scared me. Like, and it's like a lot of people are, no, because of the hurricanes and all that stuff, and I'm like, cool, but those jobs are not coming back anytime soon.
Right.
Plus, we have the election; those jobs are not coming back in the next 4 years. So it's like, all of a sudden there is yellow flags that are freaking me out.
And the other thing with that is with the new administration saying they're going to basically cut spending or make the government more efficient, with the Doge Department of Governmental Efficiency, I believe it's called. The idea there is they're going to do something similar to what Javier Milei did in Argentina, which is essentially go through all these departments and
Start.
start cutting. So essentially fire people, just like Elon did with once when he bought Twitter,
Yeah,
he like fired like 50% of the
of the
workforce,
workforce.
and it's still running. It probably is running even better today than it was back then.
Yeah,
Which I think long term it's a great thing for the economy, but short term, you got to replace that somewhere, because what are you doing there? You're losing jobs, right? The money that people are getting paid, they're not spending that money anymore in the economy, right? Because they don't get that paycheck anymore. Now, what it does is it decreases government spending, but you have to replace that government spending somewhere else. So maybe we might get some tax cuts to offset kind of like the decrease in the government spending, and the increase in those job losses. We'll see, but that's another thing that to watch out as the new administration comes in. I think everybody's also drunk on this idea that Trump is just, he has this magic wand that he's able to use rally markets forever. I think there's gonna be a wake up call at some point. I think it's
yeah,
sometime in the summer. When it says sell May and go away, I think a lot of people are gonna be selling, and there's gonna be a
yeah.
lot of selling. But we'll see. That's just kind of like, again, I don't trade on these ideas. This is just what I think, and something to keep in the back of your mind. You always want to have that contrarian view, even if
Yeah.
I'm also full invested for the most part. I do have some cash left over. It's kind of safe for some real estate and altcoins allocations. But other than that, I am full invested.
Okay. Cool, cool. Cool. Well, let me open up the stage for you. What do you got going on you? What do you want people to know about? It's gonna be a couple of people watching this, you know. But Do you have
Yeah.
anything you're working on? Because I know
Nah,
you got your music career on the side. You've got a little bit of everything. A jack of all trades doesn't account for all the things that I know you do.
yeah, I think once you get into Bitcoin investing and then you're able to, you know, get that milestone of being financially independent, it's so much better and it frees you up to basically do what you want, right? I still work as a consultant, so my primary job is consulting. I work with electric and gas utilities primarily in implementation of their enterprise softwares. I enjoy that. I don't think I can do away with that without a job. But I work from home. That's great. I travel sometimes for work. That's great too. Like you said, I'm a DJ. So I just recently started taking it a bit more seriously. DJing some parties and whatnot. Probably start DJing at some clubs as well. Also produce music. And also just being involved in the community. I'm wearing my University of Houston hoodie today. I go to a lot of the basketball games, football games. I'm also a donor for the university. I'm part of the alumni board as well. So just being involved is good. Not everything is about making money. Not everything is about crypto. Although sometimes when everything's running out, you can't help it, but to just like check your portfolio, every 10 minutes. But yeah, just I think Bitcoin and crypto and financial planning and allows you to put together a framework in which at some point in your life you're going to be able to do what you want to do with your time, and that's really, in my opinion, what's most valuable in life.
Yeah,
Being able
the
to do what you want when you can and with the people you love.
the goal is to buy your time back and then use it however you want. This is a real true
That's right.
currency we all got, because you can have money, but we all die in the same way, you know.
Look, I've had losses, I had big losses in crypto. I made them back. I've had big losses in other aspects of my life. I made them all back. When it comes to money, you can always make it back somehow. Time, you can never get it back.
Yeah. No, it's the truth. And a number always looks pretty, but I heard an analogy recently that I really like, right? And it's like you invest both on your financial future, but on your on your personal well-being, right? And it's like when that financial future is secured, you're able to sort of put that into like that money into into your well-being and enjoying the time that you're having and actually making it worthwhile
Yeah.
staying active.
I, I would also say there's something about your confidence, I want to say, or just like the way
Carry
you know,
yourself.
you carry yourself because like at a job, if you're a job, you might be scared. Like, oh my god, am I gonna get fired? Am I doing well? Am I not doing well? Right? Once you hit that point, it's like you don't care. And it allows you to perform even better, right? And some things you might be scared to speak up, or scared to speak up against somebody that's maybe above your pay grade or something like that, or superiors, right? But when you don't need a job, then it's like, hey, I can just say what I think. And most of the time, people will appreciate that and see, okay, this guy got what it takes, and he's able to say the things that need to be said, right?
Yeah, no, it's the truth. It's the truth. I saw it in a movie and they call it the I don't know if I'm gonna add this, but it's the fuck you money number. What's your fuck you
Yep,
money to just be able to say fuck you? You don't like your boss? Fuck you. You don't like your fuck you. You make decisions from a place of strength instead of making decisions from a place of weakness. Because I
exactly.
remember I remember that like the when I started the businesses or like the podcast or the thing. Like I remember like when I started, it was like, okay, like where am I gonna spend my money? Okay, I need to spend $30, and it's like, I spend $30 on a mixer to make my audio sound better. But should I spend the money or not spend the money? Now it's just like I just need better audio. I just get it. It's like because it's like
Right,
so, $30 ain't gonna like it's like a meal outside at the end of the day. So making
exactly.
those decisions whenever you have like and it's getting that sort of safety net. Whenever you have that safety net, and then the rest you can then start taking risks with. Scare money, make
Yeah.
no money. So
And
like,
you're investing in yourself at the end of the day. Like that example, you're investing in yourself, and that's the best thing you can do. Yeah, like you can put money into crypto, into investments, but if you don't know what you're doing, you have to invest in your knowledge. You have to invest in yourself. So like if somebody took away everything you have today and you have to start from zero, you should be able to say, yeah, I'm confident that I'm gonna be able to make it back. Right.
Exactly.
That's at that point, that's okay. Now you can make those other investments. But really the priority should be invest in yourself, invest on your knowledge, invest on your skills. So even if you have nothing to your name, you're able to make it up again.
Yeah. No, it's the truth. It's very, very true. It's very, very true. And you know, the beautiful thing about knowledge and skills that you acquire, they cannot tax that away from you. You know, it's like freaking, it
There
doesn't
you go.
matter. You know, it doesn't matter how much knowledge you get. They're not going to be like, hi, we're coming in from the knowledge department. It's like, you know, it's safe. You can always make it back. So, no, it's the truth. Man, nice. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. A bit,
Yeah.
yeah, a bit long, a bit nice, but I think we touched all the points that I wanted to touch. You know, sort of.
Yeah, we'll have to revisit in 6 months, see if any of our predictions panned out.
Oh, for sure. That's the plan. You know, it's the beauty when you get it recorded is that you know it's that you can check if you did it right or not. I gotta buy a Zoom friggin' membership. This thing with like not. Yeah, I got disconnected. I have no idea if the middle like I have like I have two recordings, which is great, but I don't know if the Zoom recording stopped and then continued because I know it stopped and then it came back, but I have to
It
look.
says it recording.
Hmm? Yeah, it's recording. But the thing was like whenever we broke, I don't know what happened to the thing. I'm
Yeah.
sure that they have
So
safety, but yeah, that's
the other thing is similar to the podcast, right? Is the crypto group, right? That's also another reason why I put my stuff in there because I want to have the receipts, right?
yeah.
And sometimes I go
Uh,
back, even nobody's asking. I just go back and say, see
yeah. I
what
took
it
a
says.
picture. You took a picture, and then next thing you know, it's like motherfucker, look. It's like
Like
yeah,
when I said we're probably gonna get some like resistance at around 90K, that's basically where we've been stuck.
yeah.
Right? We hit that line. You know that blue line that had in that screenshot of Bitcoin? That blue line, I actually drew that line crazy. Like maybe like more than 2 years ago. And it just basically took the logarithmic regression of the Bitcoin over time. And it's crazy that it's basically like I mean it was out by like 2000, but still, it's pretty damn crazy.
Yeah.
I
But
think
it's
I
yeah,
think short term we're we're kind of chilling here, right below 90,000. But I think within this week, probably gonna over the weekend, we're probably gonna be back up above 90. We'll probably try to reach 99, 100K this cycle, the 60-day cycle, but I doubt we'll break it this. We'll might break it in December, possibly, or get
yeah
to
with
100K, but then
440 and stuff. But
we're gonna get a decline for sure. Like we're not gonna break 100K on the first try, is what basically I'm saying.
ooh, markets down today in ooh, I did not want to look at that. Ooh, my God, that was ugly.
Stock market.
Oh ho 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 ho, I'm down 20. Ho 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 ho. That
You
sucks.
you want to talk about we have 3 minutes. You want to talk about the play? I think MicroStrategy is one of the biggest plays.
Are you in it?
Oh yeah, I'm heavy in it. I'm heavy in it. I'm heavy
Okay.
into MSTR. I've already like 3x just with MSTR. Might have been more now. But and then I also started getting into MSTU, which is a 2x leverage ETF.
Oh, they.
And it's like leverage on leverage without the risk of getting margin called
Yeah.
because MicroStrategy themselves are essentially, a Bitcoin, a company that's leveraging their shares and their cash as collateral to borrow money at the rates are less than 1%. It's basically free money to buy more Bitcoin. They're already leveraged, pretty low risk, right? And then with the ETF, that's 2x leverage, you're leveraging on top of that leverage without the ability to get margin call. Now, that's probably the first decisions that I'm gonna exit out of, just because I don't want to deal with that 30% decline, and losing 60% of that holding. So you've got to be a little bit more careful. and more proactive in exiting those leverage ETF positions. But MSTR, I think it's it's already performed better than Bitcoin. I think it's gonna continue to perform better than Bitcoin for at least the next 3 months.
Okay. Fuck, I'm in leveraged Nvidia fucking ETFs. So I have Nvidia 2x and Nvidia 3x.
But Nvidia's kind of calmed down, no?
It is, but it's still there's still euphoria there, and like we're gonna get the earnings, they're gonna be fantastic. It's probably gonna sell off a little bit and then just bounce back up. There's just so much demand right now. The only thing that's scaring me, one of the data, like a little bit of the data that I saw was the just the decline on how much they're costing to like the cost of compute. So the cost of rental of the chips has like drastically dropped. So that affects future, let's say
Revenue.
future demand, right? Because it's like, fuck, if I'm losing 70, 80% a year, it's really not.
Yeah. I think this thing is about to cut us off. That's
Yeah,
less
I think
than
so. Fuck, man, it's crazy. But here, let me save it. Let me save it. I can jump on the call if you want for a little bit too. But I
okay.
can call you. I can call you on WhatsApp or Teams. Your
Do
call.
we want to do an outro or just like
We
that?
could. We could. Do you have it out? Yeah, we could. But